All right, welcome back to the channel, subscribers. All right, Gervonta Davis calls out Josh Taylor, says he is calling Al Haymon to make that fight. Man, let me tell you, at first I thought that sounded crazy, still do, but it reminded me of something I had seen similar to this not too long ago that wound up being anything but crazy. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel, subscribers. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And also, thank you so much to the Patreon community. We're going to have another Patreon video up there today. We're doing daily uploads. Also, thank you so much to everybody that supports in the live streams that we do Monday through Friday and Sunday for OG Boxing Talk with my co-host, Trap House Boxing, Blood Boxing, KQKC Boxing, and Curtis Anderson. The panel's getting complete, getting a little thick, but we've got we got really great content coming up on that show. So please make sure you guys attend. All right, Gervonta Davis and Josh Taylor. We have a 130-pound champion that is moving up to 135 pounds to fight Yuriorkis Gamboa December 28th in Atlanta. That will be his introductory fight into the 135-pound division. As we know, Tank Davis is a two-time 130-pound champion. He beat Jose Pedraza by knockout to win the fight, to win the IBF title, and then he lost his title on the scale in a couple fights later. He wins it again, and now the WBA Super Championship, and now he's coming up to fight for a secondary belt, the WBA regular. Actually, I'm not sure if he's fighting for the WBA regular. Yeah, he has to be fighting for the WBA regular title because Vasily Lomachenko is the WBA super champion at 135 pounds. But he's moving up. Gervonta Davis is moving up to fight for the title 135 pounds. Josh Taylor just got done unifying the belts between the IBF and the WBA at 140 pounds. Really got introduced to the boxing world at large after a broader portion of the boxing fan base, world, however you want to describe it, in that fight. So he's an up and coming fighter. Hopefully he'll be able to fight Jose Ramirez to unify all the belts. I, on the other hand, do not necessarily see that happening because of the politics of boxing. But anyway, Josh Taylor's on the rise. Gervonta Davis has been an established star. So on Twitter last night, I'm watching The Watchmen with my wife and my kids, and I'm going through my Twitter, and then I see this interchange between Josh Taylor and Gervonta Davis, where Gervonta Davis says he'd fight him. He's going to call Al. He'd move up to 140 pounds to fight Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor said, I haven't had that good a laugh in a long time. Basically, check yourself, wee man. I guess wee means little. So anyway, they're going back and forth. And so there's a bunch of people out there that think that's crazy. Obviously, Gervonta Davis is too small to fight Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor is a big 140 pounder. Gervonta Davis has not fought. Gervonta Davis hasn't fought somebody I think that is a top level fighter since he defeated Jose Pedraza to win the belt. So it's reasonable for people to think that Gervonta Davis might just be talking out the side of his neck. But then I started thinking, because that's what you got to do when you say, okay, well, this is a war. Gervonta Davis really is only one weight class below him now. And actually, Gervonta Davis probably should have been fighting at lightweight for a while because he's been having trouble, looking very, very drained, making 130 pounds. Now, he's a short guy. He's 5'5", but he's a thick, strong guy who probably should be at 135 pounds. I'm quite sure he's relieved to be fighting at 135 pounds and not 130 pounds, where he had been since he turned pro. And he turned pro pretty young. He's still pretty young, still a 22-year-old, maybe a 23, 24-year-old guy. So anyway, the weight classes, that's really just one weight class up, 135 to 140. But obviously, you have a bigger size difference because Josh Taylor is a tall 5'10" guy. But so anyway, I thought about this and I was like, you know what? This isn't the first time that I've heard something like this where people responded in the same way. And the instance that I'm talking about is Gervonta Davis' promoter, Floyd Mayweather Jr. When Floyd Mayweather Jr. was still at 130 pounds, or I think he might have been at 135. He was either 130 or 135 pounds when he started calling out Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya was already at 147 and already won belts at 135. He won belts at 140. He won belts at 147. And Floyd Mayweather Jr. was saying, I want Oscar De La Hoya. And the response to that was that he's too small. No way, Floyd's just talking crazy. He doesn't really want Oscar De La Hoya. He's too small. And I remember thinking that, like, man, that would be a really good fight. But I think Floyd might just be too small for Oscar De La Hoya. Now, the comparison between the two at the time, I think is a fair comparison where if you think about the perception of Floyd Mayweather Jr. when he was still at 135 pounds and Oscar De La Hoya when he was at 140 pounds when these call outs started. Oscar De La Hoya at the time was considered to be one of the best fighters in all of boxing and is definitely on a different level of skill and an accomplishment from Josh Taylor. Now, Josh Taylor is a very, very good fighter. Did a great job in the Regis Prograis fight, even though I got to point out something that was really interesting. That fight would have been with Josh Taylor and Regis Prograis would have been a majority draw if one judge had not given Josh Taylor the 12th round. A 12th round, by the way, that he clearly lost. On all of the on the other three scorecards, on the auxiliary score, people that were keeping the scorecard, the auxiliary judges and the actual judges. So the other two judges, the only one guy, the one that turned the fight for Josh Taylor, gave him the 12th round, which, by the way, get out of here. He didn't win that round. Anyway, but Josh Taylor won the fight. He's now a unified champion, but he's not an Oscar De La Hoya level fighter. Now, is Gervonta Davis a Floyd Mayweather Jr. level fighter? Probably not. But I think that is a fair comparison between the two. And especially when you look at the mindset that people have looking at that fight. There are other instances of smaller guys moving up and beating bigger guys. Henry Armstrong in the 1930s, mid and late 1930s, did it like nobody else. My understanding is that he won the welterweight championship weighing in as a featherweight. He's down in the 120. He's in the upper 120. Somebody can correct me, like Kurt, if you hear this and I get the weights wrong. Please no problem, correct me in the comment section. But I know for sure he won the featherweight, the lightweight, and the welterweight all in divisions all in 1 year. And he never really got too much above featherweight because he moved back and forth between the weight classes. So there's definitely examples of smaller guys beating bigger guys. The reason why I don't think that it's probable, but I don't think it's probable that the fight will happen because of the way Gervonta Davis's promoter moves him. But if the fight was able to happen, I wouldn't say that it's impossible. It's not. I don't think it's. I mean, I would clearly favor Josh Taylor for it, but I wouldn't say there was an impossible situation where Gervonta Davis could win that fight. And I say that because other than the size, similar to Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Oscar De La Hoya, other than the size, I think Gervonta Davis has every other advantage. I think that he's a better fighter than Josh Taylor. I think he's faster. I think if he could carry his power up to 140, which is a big question mark, but definitely from what I'm seeing for him, I think he's got enough crack to hurt anybody that he lands his gloves on. I think his in and out, his defense on the inside is significantly better than Regis Prograis is. And Josh Taylor just doesn't seem like the brightest cookie, the sharpest pencil in the box when it comes to fighting from the outside. He likes to fight. And if he fights on the inside with Gervonta Davis and let Gervonta Davis stay on the inside and fight him, that could wind up being it has a potential to be a difficult fight for Josh Taylor if Gervonta Davis acclimates to that weight 140 well. I just kind of think that Gervonta Davis is going to be, at about 135 pounds because of his height. The differences between the two are that I think, Floyd Mayweather Jr. is taller and he's longer than than Gervonta Davis is. And also, I don't think that De La Hoya is necessarily as aggressive. But nah, De La Hoya is just better than Josh Taylor in every way. There's no real comparison between Josh Taylor and Oscar De La Hoya. So anyway, I thought it was interesting. I thought about the fight. I don't think it's impossible. And hey, man, my hat's out to Gervonta Davis for saying that. But obviously, he's got other things he needs to be handling at 135 pounds. Let me know what you think in the comment section about that comparison. And with that, I'm out. Peace.